Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 9 of What if Deku date Momo Yaoyorozu? If you notice some errors or some missing parts in the video, please tell me in the comment down below. Hope you'll enjoy the video. Izuku was astounded by the island. Everything he saw was something he thought couldn't even exist. A diving suit that could go thousands of feet below water, a helmet that can give a near 360-degree view at all times, and so much more. Melissa began to explain how all of these inventions came to fruition. Almost all of these inventions were made due to other inventions my papa patented. Wow, you must be really proud of him. Melissa and Izuku stopped in front of a giant hover tank exhibit. Yeah. It's my dream to be a scientist like him one day. I want to live up to his legacy and help the world in any way I can. I feel the same way about being a hero. If I want to be a hero like All Might, then I have to get stronger and hone my skills so I can be the best hero I can be. Melissa giggled. You really admire Uncle Might, don't you? Oh well, he's been my favorite hero since I was a kid, Izuku said, rubbing the back of his head, blushing. Having fun there, Izuku? Izuku whipped around to see Momo standing right behind him, giving off an odd look. He could see Achako and Kayaka a few feet behind Momo, and they seemed to be finding the situation amusing for some reason. Momo? Surprise? I heard your parents say you were coming here. So I thought I would surprise you. I see you brought Uraraka and Jiru with you. It's good to see you guys. Izuku tried to find a way to explain why he was here without giving away he came with All Might, but it seemed Momo didn't care. She turned to look at Melissa. Is Momo's eye twitching? So, who's this Izuku? Momo asked. Melissa put out her hand and shook Momo's. I'm Melissa Shield, it's a pleasure to meet you. Momo Yaoyorozu. It's an honor. The two shook hands for an uncomfortable amount of time. Melissa was starting to feel awkward and was starting to feel pain in her hand. You have a strong grip there, Yaoyorozu. Momo released her hand and took a step back. Quite. So, shall we go and perhaps grab a drink somewhere? Oh, I know a great place. Follow me. Melissa started to walk to the doors with the group following her. Izuku walked up next to Melissa, only for Momo to shove her way in between the two, a tight, forced smile clearly evident on her face. Izuku leaned back and whispered to Jiru and Achako. Why is Momo acting so weird? Kayaka chuckled. Dude, you are so freaking dense. How did I lose her to you? What? Nothing. Just give her plenty of attention today, okay? Izuku backed away even more confused than before. Jiru looked over to Uraraka. What did you see in him again? Hey. He's an amazing person. And some people find a little density cute. Whatever you say, Chako. Chako? Just roll with it. I'm not gonna stop calling you that. The group found a small outside cafe, and all the girls sat at one table, while Izuku sat at the table next to them trying to decipher what Kayaka had said. Momo had to admit, Melissa was wonderful. She was fun, polite, kind, and approachable. Momo never thought of herself as the jealous type before, but once she saw Izuku with her, common sense shut down and envy took control. She felt ashamed of how she acted, but luckily Melissa seemed to take it in stride and acted as if it never happened. You really fought the hero killer? The blonde questioned. Well, fought might be a bad choice of words. I was saved from the hero killer by Edgeshot. Momo said, keeping up with the original lie. Oh come on. With you and Deku there, I'm sure you had to have put up one heck of a fight. Especially with that sword of yours. Momo blushed slightly at the compliment. She just couldn't hate Melissa. Not that she wanted to, but even uncontrollable jealousy couldn't make Momo dislike her. Suddenly, Jiru perked up with her eyes wide. Her earphone jacks were vibrating. Oh no. My idiot senses are tingling. That's her way of saying hello, Kaminari. The group turned to the voice to see Kaminari in a waiter outfit standing next to their tables. Kaminari? What are you doing? Oh no. Now my pervert senses are tingling too. Mineta slid up next to Denki. I heard my cue. Why hello there, ladies. Jiru grumbled, just great, Tweedledee and Tweedledumbus. What are you two doing here? Kaminari flipped his hands up in frustration. Can I just get one day where you publicly act like my friend? No. Ugh. Well, we found an ad online that said the expo needed workers for the expo. The pay is really good, and it's a free trip out here, so we hopped on the chance. Mineta then chimed in, now I can purchase all the dirty things I want. Everyone either grimaced or scowled at Mineta. What? Just because I tone it down in public doesn't mean I can't be a perv on my own time. Don't judge me. Boom, wow. 33 seconds. That's amazing. The heroes in the group shot up at the explosion out of instinct. They all ran to the source to see a giant mountain-like area with a timer and scoreboard on a large screen next to it. The crowd was cheering Kirishima down in the pit, only for him to be shoved out of the way by an explosive blonde. Momo groaned, "Oh, you have to be kidding me." Melissa turned to her. "Do you know him?" "Unfortunately." Start. Katsuki shot off from the starting platform and began blasting robots left and right. Die. Katsuki finished off the final bot and landed back down at the start. Oh my god. 16 seconds. First place. Katsuki smirked at the announcement. He turned around to see Deku, an annoying fucking girlfriend standing up at the railing. He growled and jumped up onto the rails. "The fuck are you doing here, Deku?" Izuku backed away with his hands up, thinking up a quick lie. I just managed to win a contest online to come here." "Why are you here?" Before Bakugo could scream anymore, Kirishima intervened and slapped a hand on Bakugo's mouth. "They invited him because he technically was a winner of the sports festival. I'm just his +1. But you won too, Midoriya. Why didn't you get an invite?" "Oh. Maybe it got lost in the mail or something." Izuku actually did get the invitation, but he had already agreed to go with All Might by that point. Besides, he felt that he dodged a major bullet by avoiding a plane ride with Katsuki. "Oh well. Hey, at least you still got here, man. So are you going to try this thing out?" Ijiru said, referring to the timed activity behind him. Kirishima was suddenly shoved away by Bakugo. "It's useless. He can't beat my time. Go ahead and get your shitty results and prove it." Momo suddenly stepped up next to him. "Oh, he'll do it. And he'll beat your score too." Momo Yaoyorozu leaned in and whispered into his ear, "Izuku, do you have any idea how fast you are now? Come on, do it for me please." That was it. That last sentence was, hopefully, going to be the bane of his existence for the rest of his life. How could he ever say no to her? Izuku walked forward and hopped down into the pit and walked into the starting platform. Full cowling, 10%. During the finals, 10% actually turned out alright. It was only the 12% jump that started to cause his body to ache some. Ready. Start. Izuku rocketed forward into the first few bots before the first second was even over. He shot up the cliffs and hills, destroying every bot in sight. He zipped right through the final robot, wires and robot parts falling behind him. That's insane. 8 seconds. We have a new record. Izuku turned around and looked down at the crowd seats. Momo was looking at him with an amused and knowing smile, one that clearly was saying "I told you so." Izuku was so happy that he completely missed Bakugo stomp away from the site with Kirishima in tow. Izuku full cowled down back to his friends. Uraraka bounced next to him. "That was amazing, Deku. Thanks, Uraraka." Then, another voice spoke up behind them. "Yeah, I'm not even going to try anymore." Izuku turned around to see Todoroki walking up to him. "I see no point in attempting to beat 8 seconds. Todoroki. You're here too?" "Yeah. I'm here to represent my father, since he couldn't make it." Melissa walked up to the two, not to interrupt. "It's just that, I don't know about you, but we girls actually want to look presentable for the party this evening. So I think it would be best that we go ahead and go start to get ready." "Oh. Yes, of course." The group all began to part ways to their separate rooms to prepare themselves. Izuku was about to leave, but Melissa stopped him. Actually, Deku, I want to show you something. Could you come with me to my lab?" "Oh, sure." The two began to walk away together. Momo watched the two from afar leaving. A sigh escaped her lips as she rubbed her temples. She was starting to hate jealousy. It left a terrible burning sensation in her stomach. Jiro could see Momo's distress from the lobby window of the hotel. She still wasn't fully over Momo just yet, but she was getting better. Sigh, well, Kayauka, if you really want to get over her, then help her be happy with someone else. Kayauka walked out the front door. "Yao, Momo." Yaoyorozu turned to Kayauka. "Come inside. We're going to make you look smokin' for Midoriya. He'll be all over you tonight." Kayauka. Hey. Enough lying. I'm your best friend, remember? Well, at least until Mophead came in. Now we just have to prepare you for the storm that is Mina when she hears she was right about you and Midoriya. Tashi. Your quirk? I know. It's not as bad as it seems. I'll be fine. David spun away from the screens to look at All Might come out of the medical analysis chamber. Toshinori, this is not okay. Your quirk is depleting. At this rate it won't even last 2 more years. Toshinori put his pants back on, and even less, if my suspicions about All for One are true. He turned around and walked over to David. Maybe. But believe me, Dave, the day I can't fight anymore won't be sad. The next generation of heroes is far greater than anyone could have ever dreamed of. The world will be just fine. Besides, I'll be less busy for Inko. David was clearly in disagreement over this, but changed the topic. Does she know? About you being All Might, I mean. No, she doesn't. That woman worries enough as it is. If she knew about, not only my injuries, but the fact that I'm All Might too, then she might have a heart attack. She's going to find out eventually. Oh, I know. Not only is she a mother, but a nurse as well. Her intuition has already made the conclusion that something is wrong with me. She can tell I'm hiding something from her. Hey, but she knows I'll tell her eventually. She's okay with waiting. David smiled. It sounds like you found a keeper. You have no idea. Here we are. Melissa flipped on the lights to her lab. Wow. You have a lab entirely to yourself? Izuku said, examining all of the lights and computers. Yep. She's all mine. Come over here. Melissa led him to a shelf in the corner of the room. She picked up a steel black box and took off the lid. Izuku watched as she pulled out a red high TSCH wristband. Hold out your hand. Izuku did as he was told, and she clipped it onto his wrist. Your quirk was similar to Uncle Might's, as in it enhances your body. But I could tell by your careful movements that we're holding yourself back. And with those scars, I'm assuming your quirk is so strong it damages your body. I think these will help. She's so analytical. She's like me. Melissa tapped the center of the wristband, and it glowed a bright blue. The band expanded and wrapped its way up to Izuku's elbow before fully forming back to its solid state. Whoa. What is this? Well, I don't actually have a name for it yet. But I heard you call your quirk Full Cowl earlier. So. How about Full Gauntlet? It should be able to withstand your full power. Are you serious? My full power? I can't take this. You should give it to someone who really needs it. Melissa took his arm and put it on his chest. Yeah, I know. That person is you. But how did you even make this? Does your quirk enhance your intelligence or something? Oh, no. I'm actually quirkless. Izuku froze at that. He looked back up to Melissa. Quirkless? Yeah. I get it from my mom. She died a long time ago, but she was quirkless too. She's actually another reason to why I do this. I want to live up to my papa, of course. I want to help people and strong heroes like he did with Uncle Might. But my mom was a scientist too. Papa says she was more brilliant than he could ever hope to be. She was actually the creator of the first quirk suppressant handcuffs. She helped the world too in more ways than one. Being quirkless was rough at first, but then I realized I didn't need a quirk. I could be a hero in my own way, just like my mom. So here we are. I have a long way to go, but I'm getting there. Izuku was baffled. And yet ashamed. Here was this girl that when she found out she was quirkless, took it in stride and is creating things that could help save thousands of lives if not more. And when Izuku found out he was quirkless, he broke down. He refused to see any other option in life other than being a hero. He made up a fantasy for himself just to escape his quirklessness. He lived pretending it was possible to be a hero just to forget about his life. He saw his quirklessness as a disease, a birth defect. He thought he was born wrong. The day All Might told him he couldn't be a hero was shattering. No, it was a death sentence. Being a hero was all he used to think mattered in life. He thought that without that possibility, he had no point. If All Might didn't stop him and tell him about his quirk on his way home, he wasn't sure what he would have done. Well, he knows what he probably would have done. He just didn't want to think about it. And here was Melissa, quirkless and happy as can be. Out of all the things Izuku had seen in this island, Melissa was by far the most incredible. Saving lives and living her dream. Izuku was utterly ashamed with his past self. Deku. Izuku looked back up to Melissa. She put a hand on his own. Please, take it. Okay. Thank you so much. Great. Now let's go get ready for the party. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Mina had been saying that for the last 20 minutes ever since Momo walked in and said, 20 minutes ago. Jiro walked into the hotel room, pushing Momo in. Alright girls, we need your help. We gotta make Yao Momo hot for Broccoli Boy. Mina shot up out of bed squealing, does that mean? All eyes turned to Momo. Yes. I like Izuku. All the girls started screaming. Present time. Okay, I'll stop. But I still knew it. If I had known this was gonna happen earlier, I would have made you pack a sexier dress, Yao Momo. What's wrong with this? Momo said, looking in the mirror at her cream dress. Jiru came up behind her. There's nothing wrong with it. You look great. Well, does she looks good. She looks great in everything. What Mina meant was that it's too conservative if we're trying to take away Midoriya's attention from Melissa. Chimed in Toru. Here, how about we slide the straps to the sides of your shoulders and show off your no? We're not doing that. Kayaka, could you please just finish my makeup? I think I've suffered enough embarrassment here. Kayaka got back in front of Momo's chair and bent down, applying more makeup. And done. Momo looked into the mirror at herself. Her hair was done up in a much shorter and fancier ponytail, some vibrant red lipstick, a dash of eyeshadow. And that's it. Are you sure you're done? What about blush, or Yao Momo? You're you. You don't need any of that. You don't even need any of the stuff you have on now. You could just walk downstairs in a trash bag, and we would still have to swim through Midoriya's drool just to get to the dance floor. Now get your butt up and get downstairs. Well, see you down there. Jiru said, pushing Momo out the door. Kayaka walked back inside and picked up her dress, already dreading having to wear it. She looked over to Achako wearing her red and white dress, her expression seemed off. Kayaka was pretty sure why. She finished getting dressed, and her and Uraraka walked out the door. Once alone in the hallway, Kayaka turned to her. I know. It sucks. Trying to hook up our crushes. It sucks. But I think that's the step we needed to finally end this for good. We gotta move on. Achako sighed, I know. Now chin up, I'm not dancing with a sourpuss. Kayaka wrapped her arm around Achako's neck, and the two walked to the elevators. Izuku paced around the lobby outside of the main party room. What happened in the lab was still on his mind. He had a pit form in his stomach after that. He just felt so weak. But he couldn't dwell on it tonight. He should have some fun while it lasts. Come on, Izuku. Just push it to the side. Tonight you're going to dance with beautiful girls. Izuku watched stunned as the elevator door opened up to reveal an image that will be burned into his mind for the rest of his life. Momo stepped out of the elevator in a cream-flowing dress, her hair pinned up in a way he hoped to see more of in the future, and just the slightest amount of makeup to emphasize her perfect face. She walked up to Izuku and blushed at the look Izuku was giving her. She got closer and pulled his handkerchief out of his breast pocket and wiped up the slight saliva going down his chin. To which he immediately realized he had, and blushed even more. Momo refolded the handkerchief and put it back in his pocket. She dragged her hand from his pocket and readjusted his bow tie and smoothed out his blazer. Izuku started to babble. You look beautiful. Incredible. Perfect. Momo blushed, smiled, and looked down. And you look dashingly handsome as always, Izuku. As always? She giggled, yes. As always. Momo gauged his reactions to all of this. He actually might return her feelings. She wanted so badly to say that he did. She was confident that he did. Everything over the last few weeks has given her hope, but she usually brushed it aside. But calling her perfect? He couldn't keep his eyes off of her. So much so that she realized Uraraka, Jiru, Kaminari, Todoroki, and Mineta had all arrived and were talking, but neither of them noticed or even heard them. I guess I couldn't keep my eyes off of him either. But confident wasn't 100% certain. Izuku was never good around girls. Maybe this was just his awkward way of communicating. She just couldn't do it right now. But she knew she had to say something soon. She doubted it would be tonight, but soon. It was going to kill her if she didn't. Momo? Would you like to dance at some point tonight? Save me for first in line. Sorry I'm late, everyone. All eyes turned to Melissa, who came running out of the elevator in a stunning blue dress, her hair up, and her glasses were gone. Momo's heart clenched when, after everything that happened in the past 5 minutes, the only thing to take Izuku's eyes off of her was Melissa. Momo looked down, a saddened expression on her face. She walked back over to Uraraka and Jiru, who saw her expression and looked back to Midoriya to see where his eyes were. Jiru squeezed Momo's arm in silent comfort. Melissa walked over to Izuku, great suit. You look very dashing, Deku. Oh. Thank you. You look great as well. Wow, only great. It's because you know I'm quirkless now, isn't it? What? No. Why would that have anything to do with it? I was just. Hahaha. I'm just kidding, Deku. I saw the expression you had in the lab when I told you. I just thought I would tease you a bit. As Izuku awkwardly tried to laugh it off, Momo's entire world was falling apart. Quirkless? She's like how Izuku used to be. No. Of course he's grown a liking to her. She can understand him more than anyone. He can relate to her. More than he can with me. She could feel her heartache and feel like it's sinking in on itself. Tonight couldn't be any worse. Slam suddenly, metal door after metal door slammed down over the regular doors, and red lights began to flash. Emergency lockdown, engaged. Damn it. Warning, explosives found on site. All citizens, please stay indoors until told otherwise. All citizens found outside after 10 minutes will be detained. Melissa scrunched up her face in confusion. That's not the protocol for explosives. Jiro was repeatedly pressing the elevator buttons. The elevators are down. Todoroki raised up his phone and moved it around. I don't have any signal either. Melissa checked her phone as well and found that she also had no signal. Something's wrong. None of this part of any of the protocols for emergencies. Guy. Izuku said, getting everyone's attention. We need to find a way to get into the party room. If something's wrong, we should get to All Might. Everyone but Melissa was surprised to hear that All Might was at the island, but decided that it was just a miracle he was there to help. Melissa, is there any way up to the party room from here? Not directly. But that door over there leads to the second floor. The main hall has a glass ceiling over the chandelier we can look down through. She said, pointing to a door near the elevators. The group filed through the door and ran up the stairs. Once they reached the glass dome, the teens looked down over the railing into the main hall. The entire crowd was being held hostage by a multitude of armed gunmen. All Might was being constrained on the stage. Melissa frantically looked around the room. I don't see my papa down there. You don't think they took him, do you? Midoriya pursed his lips. He's the head scientist on the island. It's likely that whatever they're here for, they would need him. Melissa's expression went from worried to panicked and scared. Izuku turned to Kayaka. Jiro, I need you to plug your jacks into the floor. I'll get All Might's attention and ask what's going on. On it? Jiro plugged her jack into the floor and Izuku started turning the flashlight on his phone on and off again. Once Izuku made eye contact with Toshinori, he signaled the pro to speak. I hope you kids can hear this. Villains have taken over the tower and have control over the security system. Even the pro heroes are being held hostage, which means the entire island is held captive. You all need to get out of here. It's far too dangerous. Kayaka unplugged from the floor and turned to Izuku. This is really bad. The teens retreated back to the staircase landing. They were discussing what their next course of action should be. Of course, Iida was against any action whatsoever. All Might is our teacher and a professional. We should do as he says and try to escape from here. We can't go against his will. This is the point in time where Yaoyorozu would have agreed with Iida, but this time around she felt compelled to disagree. She was there for Stain. She knew that the law was complicated, but it still felt wrong to her. Momo refused to think about what would have happened to Iida if Izuku didn't intervene. We might just be students, but we're the only ones who can help right now, Iida. Iida was surprised that out of all people, to speak out against following orders, it was Yaoyorozu. We don't have our hero licenses. If we fight, it would be breaking the law. Not here, it's not. All eyes turned to Izuku. Melissa? Quirks are allowed to be used freely on the island, right? Well, yes, but we've never had a villain attack before. There are no set rules for fighting villains. Kaminari jumped up. That's a good enough loophole for me. Let's kick some ass. Now hold on just a minute. We're not fighting. Iida exclaimed. Izuku stood up. Not without a plan, we're not. Melissa, is there any way of getting out to find other pros? The security here rivals Tartarus, and the tower is on its highest level of security. It's nearly impossible to leave now. We'd have to shut down the system, and that's on the top floor. And the highest floor is? 200. Crap. Izuku bit his lip in concentration. But it's the best chance we have. If we get the system shut down, we can contact other heroes and get more help. We'll stick together and work our way up through the tower. We'll avoid fighting as best as we can, but if it comes down to it, we're more than enough to handle some gunmen. Is everyone in? Momo, Kaminari, Jiro, Uraraka, and Todoroki all nodded their heads. All eyes turned to Iida and Mineta, the latter of which was crying tears of fear. All right, I'll go with you psychopaths. Mineta cried out. Iida was scowling at the ground, clearly still in disagreement. Izuku spoke up. Iida, I know this is against your morals, but I just can't sit here and do nothing when we have the ability to help. I just can't help it. If you don't want to come then you don't have to, but you would be an amazing help if you did. We need you. Iida sighed, I'll go. As long as it's not breaking the law, and for what happened with Stain. Thanks Iida. Okay Melissa, can you tell us how to get to the top? Melissa raised an eyebrow, you say that like I'm not going with you. Oh. No, I just again, kidding. But I am coming. I'm going to help save my papa. This is my home, and I'm not letting them take that from me. Now let's go, follow me. Melissa said with determination written on her face. Izuku was mad at himself for underestimating Melissa for being quirkless. He had almost forgotten just how strong he was. I guess I accidentally replaced her with me. Izuku thought scowling. He was just reminded again about how much stronger she was than he was when he was quirkless. Momo saw the look on Izuku's face after what Melissa had said. She squinted her eyes in confusion. Is he mad that she's going? Shouldn't he be encouraging her to go? I thought he would want someone quirkless to be a hero. Momo didn't have any more time to think it over. The group started their trek up the stairs. By the time they had reached around the 50th floor, Achako noticed Melissa was slowing down. Melissa. Do you need me to use my quirk on you? Melissa caught her breath and smiled. No thanks. Keep your energy for when we need it. I'm right behind you. Melissa said, taking off her heels and breaking out into a full sprint. Momo waited for her to catch up and turned to Izuku. The same expression from before was on his face. Izuku, are you alright? Izuku was startled out of his stupor. Oh, yeah. Just worried about Melissa is all. Oh. Okay then. Momo said downcast. Maybe that's all it was. Maybe he's just really cares for her. Momo continued her way back up the stairs. Thwack-ow. Izuku turned to see Kayaka had just punched his shoulder. What was that for? You'll figure it out someday. Kayaka said running back up the stairs. Eventually the student heroes and inventor made it to the 80th floor, only to find a hatch blocking the rest of the way. Oh hey, what about this door? Mineta asked, opening a separate door on the staircase landing. Melissa turned around and yelled, no. Mineta wait. But it was too late, he had already opened the door. A red light flashed above the door. During security lockdowns all unlocked emergency doors are monitored. They know we're here now. Todoroki began walking through the door, then we need to make as much progress as we can before they get here. Let's go. They proceeded through the door and into the he-connected hallway. While rushing through the hall, the thick steel doors suddenly began closing down throughout the corridor. Izuku charged his full cowl and jumped between the top and bottom sections of the door before it closed. He lifted up the top and pushed down on the bottom of the door with his feet. Everybody through. Quickly. The other doors are closing. Don't worry. I'll handle it. Iida said, activating his engines and bursting through the opening. He raced ahead and busted down another door. We can cut through this area over here. The rest caught up to Iida and ran through the broken door to see a wide open area with grass and other various bushes and flowers scattered around. Melissa spoke up about it. This is the indoor vegetation room. There's another elevator here. Maybe I can hack it. Looks like someone else already thought of that. Kayaka said, pointing to the elevator. The level numbers on the top were moving up. Someone was coming. Everyone hide for now. We'll see how many there are. The group jumped into a large collection of shrubs and crouched down. Each teen peeked through the bushes to see two gunmen walk out of the elevator. How'd those brats reach the 80th floor? I dunno man, but let's just get this over with. The gang did their best to keep quiet, but it seemed their efforts were useless. Hey. We see you dumb kids. Come over here. All of the students' eyes went wide. Izuku pulled up his jacket sleeve and hovered his fingers over his full gauntlet, ready for action. Momo hovered her hand over the back of her shoulder. The hilt of a replica fushigiri slowly emerging from her skin. The others got ready for a fight as well. Who the fuck are you calling dumb fuck face? Only one person they knew had that gruff voice and colorful vocabulary. They looked back through the bushes to see, as Jiru sometimes put him, the Tsar blonde and Kirishima in suits walking towards the gunman. Kirishima stepped in front of Katsuki to explain the situation before Bakugo made things violent. Excuse us, we were just looking for the party. We kinda got lost. How did they manage to get to the 80th floor looking for a party on the first? The hidden group thought simultaneously. Kirishima continued, so if you could just point us in the right direction we'll be on our. The tall rodent-looking gunman's hands suddenly became webbed and expanded widely. What looked like air collected in his hand as he swung his arm back. Katsuki ran forward. Kirishima, look out. Shing the gunman's attack was blocked by a wall of ice. Todoroki jumped out from the bushes, we'll hold them off down here. The rest of you get up to the catwalk and try to find a way further up the tower. Shoto formed an ice floor under the hidden teens and boosted them up high on an ice pillar. Don't worry about us. We can handle it. The group reluctantly continued on the catwalk and came to a dead end. They looked around for another way until Momo got their attention. Hey, what about up there? Everyone looked to where Yaoyorozu was pointing to see a maintenance shaft in the ceiling. Melissa perked up at this, we can get to the next floor from there. But it's locked from the inside, and the ladder can only be released from in the room. Mineta looked above them to see a ventilation shaft. I can squeeze into that and get to the room to release the ladder. I'll be so amazing. Maybe I can land a date with Melissa. I might not be a perv in public anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't try and pursue at least one girl. Alright Mineta, it's time to shine. He turned to the group. Guys. There's a vent up above. I can go inside and get to the maintenance room too. Mineta stopped as he looked back to see Achako use her quirk on Izuku. He floated his way over to the maintenance hatch and punched it open, releasing the ladder. Alright. Let's go. Mineta deflated as his plan was easily brushed to the side by a much simpler solution. He trudged his way to the ladder, only to have Melissa crouch down and pat his head. I heard your plan. That would have worked too. Nice job, hero, she said, smiling. She got onto the ladder and started to climb up. Mineta felt his heart soar as his eyes shimmered with happy tears. There's still hope for you yet, Minoru. He quickly followed his friends up to the next floor. 130th floor laboratory. Iida peeked into the lab to see security drones everywhere. Alright, there looks to be around 30 to 40 of them. We need a plan if we're going to proceed forward. Denki walked forward confidently. Iida, I think we all know who's gonna handle this. Electronics are kinda my thing. Watch a master work. Actually, I was going to suggest you Kaminari. Great observation. Wait, really? I mean of course you were. I'm pretty awesome. Right, Jiru? No. I'll take it. Here I go. Kaminari bust open the door and charged in. He leapt into the center of the robots and zapped them all. 1.3 million volts. His attack seemed to have done nothing. Alright then, let's kick it up a notch. 3 million volts. No, don't. If you do, then you'll turn stupid. Kayauka shouted. The smoke cleared to see Kaminari giving them a thumbs up with his idiot face. Well, stupider. At least he stopped the bots. Kayauka immediately regretted saying that because the bots rebooted and continued their assault. Momo brought out a replica substitute for Fushigiri, plan B it is then. She and the rest of the group minus Melissa ran forward towards the drones. Momo and Izuku ran together. Momo slicing and dicing bots to pieces and Izuku smashing them to bits. Mineta was sticking robots together for Iida to collectively smash. Achako floated up multiple bots for Kayauka to use her jacks to vibrate apart. Izuku would punch a robot to Momo for her to cut out of the air, and Momo would do the same for Izuku to smash. You know Izuku, we've been in fights together. But we've never fight back to back like this. We're pretty good at it. Yeah. We should partner up in class more. Momo smiled at the thought. She turned to see nearly 20 more robots coming their way. Izuku took off his blazer and rolled up his sleeve. He activated the full gauntlet and jumped to the bots. Melissa said this glove could take my full power. I'll test drive it with 30% for now. Smash. Izuku punched through one bot, only for the rest of the bots to explode from the shockwave. Yes. It worked. Melissa, the full gauntlet works perfectly. That great. It's a good thing you brought it with you. I didn't know how to take it off. Melissa giggled at his confession, and Momo just blew her front bang out of her face. Her and Izuku had fought with perfect synergy, and then Melissa still came in once again to one-up her. I was wrong. I think I can hate her. Melissa turned to Momo, that sword is so cool. You're like a master with it. Thanks, Momo said. Dang it. I can't. Kayauka walked over to Denki who was smiling at a wall. So. How are we gonna carry this dummy? Eventually, they had managed to use Mineta's quirk to stick Kaminari to Iida's back. They continued up further through the tower until they reached the server room. More bots came out from their storage unit. Izuku was about to attack, but Melissa stopped him. Wait. If we damage the servers, the security could be damaged. Mineta shot a questioning look, isn't that the point? Don't we want it to shut down? Yes, but there's a chance that instead of shutting it down we permanently freeze it. If that happens, we can't shut it down from the main room. Momo walked forward, then we'll stay to defend the servers. You, Izuku, and Achako should go. Izuku whipped around at that. I have many objections. Me too. Uraraka said. Izuku, just go. If anyone is getting to the top, it's you. With All Might captured, and with that gauntlet, you're the most powerful person on the island. You have to continue to the top. We can handle it. She's right, Midoriya. Go on. We'll be fine. Iida said. Uraraka looked to Jiru concerned. Kayaka smirked and whispered to her. We'll be just fine. Go. When this is all over, you owe me a dance. Kayaka pushed Achako away, and the brunette reluctantly ran down the hall with Melissa. Izuku didn't move until Uraraka started dragging him. As he started to run down the hall, he looked back to see Momo creating a cannon. But that uses a lot of lipids, and she's hardly eaten today. Deku, come on. If we stop now, this will all be for nothing. Uraraka yelled at Izuku. Right, sorry. They kept running down the hall, but it kept repeating in his mind over and over again. He couldn't help but imagine Momo passing out from going past her limit. Being captured by the bots. The gunman finding her and killing. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll. Damn it. Izuku shook his head, spun on his heel, charged up to 30% and shot down the hall back to the server room. Melissa and Uraraka turned around to see nothing but a green streak disappear from sight. Uraraka shouted, Deku. What are you doing? Izuku made it to the server room to see Momo on the ground sweating and tired with Kayaka looking over her. She was out of energy. The bots had already tied up Iida, Kaminari, and Mineta. Izuku zipped to them and crouched down. Are you okay? Izuku. What are you doing here? As they were distracted, a bot was closing in on them. It shot out its capture wire at Izuku. Izuku, look out. Before he was hit, Kayaka jumped in the way. She fell to the ground tied up. Jiru. Kayaka. Just go. Midoriya, if you fight you might damage the servers. Take Yao Momo and go. Hurry. They're getting closer. Izuku reluctantly picked up Momo bridal style and started his way back to Melissa and Achako. Momo flicked his forehead. Why did you come back? What if we wasted time? I left you behind during finals and you were hurt pretty badly. I can't and won't do it again. I know you can easily handle yourself, but you've barely eaten today, and that cannon was too much. I was just scared, okay? Momo was so conflicted tonight. She honestly couldn't tell if Midoriya liked her or Melissa. But what she did know was that he cared for her so much that she became his top priority over everything else. She definitely counted that as points in her favor. They caught up to Melissa and Achako. Izuku stopped them before they could yell. I'm really sorry. But you can yell at me later. I've wasted enough of our time, we have to hurry. The girls silently agreed and continued forward. They made it out to the outside of the 135th floor. Melissa pointed up high to the opposite wall across a large gap. We have to get up there. Achako, can you use your quirk on us? I'm on it. Melissa wrapped her arms around Izuku and stood behind him, and Momo was still being carried bridal style. Achako touched them, and they began to float up. All was going well until more bots came through where they came. Melissa looked down at her. Uraraka, use your quirk. No. You guys aren't close enough. I'll be fine. The bots continued to rush towards her. Come on. Just a few more seconds. The drones were right on top of her now. Just as they were about to capture her, a large chunk of them were explored off the building. Katsuki, Kirishima, and Todoroki had appeared to help. You're welcome for saving your sorry ass, you damn nerd. Katsuki yelled up to Izuku. Bakugo then continued his assault on the robots. Suddenly, Izuku and the girls were blown off course by a giant outside fan. Todoroki saw this and ran towards one of the closer fans. Bakugo. Blast this fan towards Midoriya. Don't tell me what to do. Katsuki said. But he still did it anyway. Todoroki blasted his flames into the fan to boost it. The blast of air hit Midoriya back on course. He looked up to see he was about to hit a wall. He was full-handed, and he could hardly maneuver his legs with zero gravity. He couldn't break the wall. Hold on. Momo yelled. Izuku watched as she strained herself to create an explosive mine. She breathed heavily and sweat even more from creating such a small object. She slumped her head into Izuku's chest and handed Melissa the mine. Throw it. Melissa took it and threw it at the building. The explosion went off and left a hole in the wall for them to enter through. Once inside, Achako's quirk lost effect and the trio felt the ground once more. Melissa unwrapped herself from around Izuku only for him to run off up the stairs frantically. She followed him up. Deku, what's wrong? Izuku reached the hall full of offices and looked down both sides. There. Melissa watched him bolt down the hall to a vending machine? Izuku carefully out Momo down against a wall and turned around to the machine. Melissa. I don't have my wallet. Do you have any money? Deku, you're far too innocent. Melissa opened a nearby fire extinguisher case, picked it up, and smashed the glass of the vending machine. We're in a crisis. This is the least important collateral damage you could cause. Thank you so much. Izuku began frantically grabbing snack after snack until the entire machine was empty. He shoved the pile over to Momo and began opening a bag of candy. He got on his knees next to her and started to help her eat. Here. You need more energy. You've used too much. Thank you. Momo began eating as fast as she could to gain back lipids. Izuku looked back up to Melissa, but suddenly shouted. Melissa, behind you. Melissa heard Izuku's shout and turned around to see a guy with a blade arm quirk slash down on her. She jumped away, but the blade managed to cut her arm. Thought you could hide from me, kids. He tried to cut Melissa again, but Izuku blocked the blade with his gauntlet. While he was distracted by Izuku, Melissa slammed the fire extinguisher into the back of the gunman's head, knocking him out cold. Melissa, are you okay? Yeah. It's hardly even bleeding, Melissa said, holding up her arm. Izuku pulled out his handkerchief and tied it around the cut. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, Izuku said. Melissa looked back up to him, smiling. I think you mean thank you. The two looked at each other, and Izuku eventually smiled back. Black. The two turned to the source of the disgusted noise, which happened to be Momo watching them. Momo's eyes widened, realizing she said that out loud. These candies aren't good. Black, disgusting. I'll just pick something else. You two go on ahead, I'll catch up. She said, awkwardly fumbling around for a different food item. I said I'm not leaving you behind again. And you also seem to misunderstand the difference between strategically going on ahead to save the day and leaving someone to die. Which you have never done the latter, and I don't plan on dying anytime soon. Just go and save the Professor, Izuku. But I go. Please? We're heroes, remember? Or at least training to be. The lives of everyone else comes first. I'll catch up, I promise. Izuku clearly didn't want to, but he agreed anyway. Like he said, he couldn't say no to her. Izuku bent away the metal springs in the vending machine and placed the unconscious gunman inside. He then re-bent springs around him, securing him in place in case he woke up. He kneeled down in front of Momo. Don't eat so fast that you throw up. And Izuku turned around and looked at the beverage vending machine next to the normal one. Melissa? Oh right. Melissa once again used the fire extinguisher to smash the vending machine glass. Izuku turned back to Momo. Don't forget to drink plenty, Momo giggled. I know, Izuku. Go. Izuku nodded and he and Melissa raced off to the top floor. You two are so cute together. Izuku looked over to Melissa at her words. If I had known you two were together, I would have taken the hint that I was making her uncomfortable much sooner. What? I mean, I thought she sometimes acted strange when I was around. But now I understand that I, as a girl she doesn't know, was getting too close to her boyfriend for her tastes. I'm sorry for that. What? Melissa raised an eyebrow. Are you and Yaoyorozu not together? Well, no. Oh. I just thought she was jealous. Which is weird, saying she has nothing to be jealous about. I mean, look at her. I thought she was jealous that her boyfriend was spending time with me instead of her. Izuku stopped running. She's been acting jealous? Well, I thought so. But I guess I was wrong. Come on, let's go. Izuku started running again, but what Melissa said was still on his mind. Momo's behavior at the exhibit this morning and how much Kayaka was hinting at something with Momo. She couldn't actually like him. Right? All Izuku knew was that he wasn't getting any sleep tonight. Well, he already wasn't due to this attack, but now it was just emphasized. They finally reached the top floor control room, but something was wrong. They saw David's shield, but he wasn't hurt or tied up. There wasn't even any gunman. He and Sam were just by themselves. David was at the computer, inputting numbers. Sam, it's box 756B. It should be coming down. A lockbox was lowered from high up on the walls. Sam walked over to it and opened it up. He took out a suitcase and looked inside. It's here. In perfect condition too. Melissa and Izuku looked inside the room at the suitcase to see a headpiece along with what seemed to be large charging batteries. The villains are holding it down at the party for us, so we should be able to get out of here without anyone even knowing it was us. David starting walking up the stairs to Sam. Thank you, Sam. I couldn't have done this without you. Now we just need to, Papa. David turned around to see Melissa and Izuku walk into the room. He couldn't speak. The sound of her voice and the look on her face said it all. She had heard everything. Miss, what are you doing here? Sam asked. Papa. Is what I just heard true? Did you plan all of this? Is this your doing, just to steal something? Sam spoke out again. No. You don't understand. We aren't stealing anything. We're taking back what was stolen from us. This device can amplify the quirk of anybody without causing any damage. But the board of directors took it from us. They said it was far too dangerous, but we need it. Melissa couldn't believe what she was hearing. No, the Papa I know and love wouldn't act like a villain. Why? Why would you do this? David looked at the floor, but then looked back up. I had to. You kids don't know this, but All Might's quirk is disappearing. He missed Izuku look away when he said that. This world needs him. Without the symbol of peace, we'll fall. With this device, he'll be just as strong, if not stronger than his prime. He can keep saving people. Please, just let me give this to All Might. I don't care what punishment I receive. There's no time to rebuild this. Please just let me. You don't even know. You don't even realize what you've done. Deku and his friends have put their lives on the line for the island. For you. I did too. Melissa said, unwrapping her cut. Do you even know the danger you've put everyone in? What? But the villains are fake. It's supposed to be an act. Oh, it is an act. Everyone whipped around to the front door to see Wolfram at the door with a henchman. But the real act was fooling you. Izuku charged up. You're the boss. He tried to jump forward, but Wolfram touched the wall, and the metal shot into Izuku, pinning him to the wall across the room. Wolfram walked further into the room. Sam, the suitcase as promised. Yes. Of course. Sam ran down the stairs and handed Wolfram the invention. David was at a loss for words. Sam? You betrayed me? You betrayed me, Professor. You didn't even put up a fight when they took the amplifier. You let them take it. I've been your assistant for years, and if my work goes unrewarded, my career was worth nothing. You traitorous, selfish bastard. Wolfram stopped the professor's rant. Don't you worry, Mr. Shield, Sam here will get his due reward right now. Bang! Sam fell over, clutching his bleeding shoulder. Why? This wasn't a part of the plan. Really? Because I'm pretty sure it was a part of mine. Wolfram aimed the gun at Sam's head. Bang! Everyone expected to see Sam's head paint the floor, but instead they saw Wolfram tumble over Sam, clutching his head. A large dent in the metal on the back of his mask. What the hell? Wolfram was sure he had a concussion. He wobbly stumbled to a stand to see on the ground. A bullet? Cha-chink! Wolfram felt a barrel being pressed against his head. I suggest you stay down. Concussions are a serious matter. He turned to see Momo holding a sniper to his head. He chuckled. Nice metal gun. He grabbed the barrel and nothing happened. Try polymer plastics and rubber bullets. Wolfram looked up to see his henchman being held up as well. Melissa had grabbed Wolfram's handgun when he dropped it when he was shot and was now aiming it at the henchman, keeping him in place. Heh. Not bad, kid. But Wolfram suddenly sunk into the metal floor, disappearing from sight. And then David and the briefcase sunk into the floor as well. Papa. They heard the creaking of metal and turned to the front door. They saw Wolfram at the front door with the case, David's shield bound at his legs and feet by a metal pedestal next to him, and a sharp metal shard to David's throat. Sorry, but I need Papa to mass-produce these machines for a pretty penny. I'll see you all around. The metal door slammed shut, and Wolfram locked and blocked it off with more metal. Izuku broke free from his metal confinement and ran to Momo. Are you alright? I'm fine. Here, wrap up that man's wounds. Momo said, referring to Sam. Izuku started to wrap up Sam's shoulder. Do you know where he's going? The roof? That was supposed to be the exit point. I'm so sorry. Melissa stopped him. If you want to somewhat redeem yourself, then when we get that door down, go to the main security terminal and shut it all down. Yes. I will. And Izuku, do you mind? Melissa said, gesturing to the henchman she was still holding at gunpoint. Oh yeah. Izuku jumped forward and knocked him out, wrapping him in metal bars. Alright, we have to move now. Izuku charged up to 50% and punched open the door. Sam. Get to the security computer. Momo. Melissa. We need to get to the roof. Right. They all said in unison. Wolfram wobbly placed David onto the helicopter. His concussion was making everything fuzzy. He almost tripped up the stairs multiple times getting up here. Stupid girl. Just kill me. Wolfram turned to look at David and laughed, haha. Sorry, but I need you to add a few more sins to your soul first. Then I'll grant your wish. Crashy turned around to see Izuku, Momo, and Melissa all at the rooftop entrance. Just great. You're really still trying to save him. He's a villain now. Izuku charged forward, he's not a villain. And it's our job as heroes to save all who are in trouble. Wolfram brought up a wall of steel to block Momo's bullets and shot tendrils of metal at Izuku to slow him down. Erg, my head's killing me. I gotta get out of here. He hurriedly hopped onto the helicopter. Fly. Now. The pilot followed his orders and took off. They had managed to get about 50 feet in the air until they felt the chopper shake. Shink, what was that? Wolfram jerked forward as suddenly the helicopter stopped moving forward and was going backwards. He looked out the door to see a harpoon, courtesy of Yaoyorozu, lodged into the bottom of the helicopter and Izuku pulling the connected rope down from the helipad. This kid can pull down a damn helicopter. What's with him? Pilot. Hand me your gun. He took it and started shooting down at Izuku, only for Momo to place riot shields in front of them blocking his bullets. Now the helicopter was only a few feet from the rooftop. Shit. This can't get any worse. Oh, it definitely can. Wolfram slowly turned around to see All Might and Izuku holding the copter in place. You know why? Because I am here. It seems Sam was a triple agent because now he's betrayed you by releasing me and all the other pros. And I think I'll be taking my friend back. Wolfram used his quirk to seal the door shut. I don't think so. All Might pried open the metal door, only to be hit a tendril of metal. Toshinori blocked it and looked into the copter. Oh no. Wolfram had put on the quirk amplifier, oh, yeah. Suddenly the blades from the helicopter bend down and launch at All Might. Toshinori jumped back only to see the entire helicopter crumple like paper. The pilot being ejected out and David and Wolfram being lifted up by the rest of the tower's metal. Metal and wires ripped from the entirety of the tower, building up into monstrous mountain of metals with Wolfram and David at the center. I heard Dave here, your quirk is vanishing. Why should I be afraid of you? More metal tentacles shot up and started assaulting the group. Izuku grabbed Momo and Melissa and dodged around the attacks. All Might tried to hit them back, but they just kept coming, and his form was running low on time. Haha. See? What did I tell ya? You're weak now. Wolfram sent one last large wave of metal tentacles, but they were suddenly frozen solid. What the? He looked down at the roof to see all the students from before at the top of the building. Go to hell. Boom boom boom. Katsuki had suddenly appeared and began to rain down fire and explosions upon Wolfram. Come on, All Might. Are you really going to let yourself be beaten by such a weak-ass boss? I'll take that as your version of inspiration, young Bakugo. Thanks for the help. All Might said, still struggling against a metal. He's right though. How dare I be pushed by something so foolish as a limit? I have to go beyond plus ultra. Toshinori burst through the metal tentacles and launched up to Wolfram, dodging and punching through other metal attacks. He soared through the sky through all the metal. Wolfram sent a wide barrage of more metal tendrils, only for All Might to smash right through them and jump right to Wolfram. Right before he could land a blow, All Might was suddenly trapped by wires. Nice trick. But it won't act. Wolfram latched his hand around All Might's throat. His strength just increased extremely. Does he have multiple quirks? Now, let's see if this does anything. Wolfram put his hand on Toshinori's stomach injury and squeezed. Hahaha. He was right. I guess his info really is trustworthy. Wait. He is. That's right. When he approached me, I thought he was nuts for planning this. But then he told me about your weakness and your relationship with David Shield. And to top it all off, he gave me this fancy new strength quirk. How could I refuse? Toshinori's heart sank. All for One really was back. And he was taking action. All Might's worst fears were coming to fruition. Wolfram leaned in closer. Maybe if I just kill you now, he'll give me a pay raise. Let's take that chance. He sent a metal pillar straight into Toshinori's stomach and then boxed him in with layers of metal. All Might. No. All the teens screamed in unison. Then, spikes from every direction shot through the box, seemingly killing All Might. Detroit. Izuku shot into the sky towards the metal container. Smash. The box broke apart, sending Izuku and All Might falling to the ground. All Might got to his feet, coughing up some blood. Young Midoriya, that was reckless. Your body can't handle this. Maybe. But it's a hero's job to save someone no matter what, right? Izuku said, smiling. Hahaha. I guess you're right. Young Midoriya. I think I need your help. Besides, if we try to fight alone and die tonight, your mother will resurrect me and then kill me. So, lend me your aid, young Midoriya. Toshinori said, holding out his hand. Izuku smiled and grasped it. They both stood up and looked on towards Wolfram. The two heroes shot off to the villain. The rest of the teens defending themselves from more metal attacks. Momo watched Izuku run at Wolfram. At first, she could see him dodge attacks, but the next thing she knew, Izuku put all of his past speeds to shame. While she always described him as a streak of light, now he was literally a streak of light. Fire and sparks trailed behind his green lightning. A cone of fire was in front of him as he shot through metal attack after attack. Lightning arced and snapped at the metal. He was turning the entire metal tower into one large conductor. She had never seen his lightning effector touch anything but Izuku. She would have to remember that for later. All Might was progressing with him and blasting through attack after attack. Wolfram's head felt like it was splitting open. His nose was bleeding. The quirk amplifier and the concussion seemed to not like each other. He couldn't attack at full force anymore, and the two heroes would tearing through every attack he made like it was nothing. He built a massive city block-sized cube of metal straight at the heroes. But they had a plan for that. Double. Detroit. Smash. A blinding light erupted from their hit, and they pierced right through the cube, blasting it to bits. They were right on top of Wolfram now. Their light shone through the dust and debris. It ends now, villain. We will save everyone. Go beyond. Plus ultra. The two heroes slammed directly into Wolfram, their strength easily overpowering the metal armor and causing a massive explosion. Izuku's gauntlet breaking in the process. The entire island shaking from the shockwave. Wolfram's assault was over. David slowly opened his eyes to see Toshinori, half his face skeletal. They were on a giant landscape of metal and wires on top of the tower. Wolfram was unconscious and tied up on top of a large pile of metal. Good. You're up. You have some explaining to do. It's all true. This is all my fault. I'm so sorry. I just didn't want you to go. Everything you did for the world, what you still do. I wanted it all to stay the same. I wanted the world to stay safe. You certainly have an odd way of going at it, Dave. Sigh, I know. But I finally see now. Up there, when you defeated Wolfram. I saw him. Midoriya. His smile, his posture, his ideals, he's just like you. He's going to succeed you one day, isn't he? Just like Melissa wants to succeed me. Yes, he is. I chose him for that reason. He might have a long way to go, but he also has the greatest potential to be a hero more than anyone I've ever seen. He'll be greater than I ever was one day. David looked up at Izuku. He was at the top of the metal pile with Melissa. She hugged him and immediately started running down the hill towards her father. Izuku was looking at the rising sun, hope in his eyes. Yes. He will. Knock. Izuku got up out of his hotel bed. He had to be questioned by police, and he wanted to help with cleanup and had an hour-long call from his mother. So it was already nighttime again. He hadn't slept for over 24 hours, but it seemed someone still wanted him awake. Izuku walked to his door and opened it up to see Kayuka and Achako holding a tuxedo. Kayuka shoved it into his arms, put this on, and follow the trail of flowers. No questions. She then closed the door. By far, not the weirdest thing to happen to me in the last 24 hours. Or year. Izuku did as he was told and followed the trail all the way to one of the balconies of the main tower. It was perfectly moonlit, shrubs and lilies surrounded them and blocked any outside view, and there was a stereo on a table. And Momo looking exactly like she did yesterday. Dress and all. Hi Izuku. Hi Momo. I believe you owe me a dance. Izuku decided that sleep could definitely wait. He slowly walked over to Momo shaking. She pressed play on the stereo and an old song called Unchained Melody started to play. It's not Queen, but it's really good. She slowly took his hands and put them on her waist. She put hers around his neck and they slowly started to sway in circles. Oh. Hold on. She took off her heels and continued to dance. Sorry, I figured you wouldn't want to look at my nostrils the whole time. Well, now I can look at the upper bridge of your nose. Momo giggled, and once again silence took over as they continued to sway. Momo eventually put her head down on Izuku's shoulder and wrapped her arms tighter around him. Izuku nervously did the same to her waist. Melissa's a nice girl. Oh. Yeah, she is. Izuku said, confused. You two would be good together. Momo fished for the answer she was hoping to hear. Why? Well. I saw you look at her a lot. And you seem to connect with her really well. Honestly, I looked at her funny because she makes me feel ashamed of myself. She's quirkless, but she's so strong and determined. She's living her dreams. But when I thought I was quirkless, I just broke. I felt like I was defective and born wrong. Izuku. Momo had taken her head off his shoulder and looked at him directly in the eyes. Melissa also lives on an island her father partially owns. She didn't endure what you did. The bullies, society, the real world wasn't there to beat her down. It did to you, however. And look where you are now. You just fought alongside All Might and took down a massive supervillain. You're stronger than All Might in that regard. No one else could go through everything you did and still stand tall. You are amazing. You're the strongest person I know. And Melissa can never live up to that. Midoriya wiped his eyes. Thanks, Momo. You're welcome. Never think otherwise. Okay? Momo put her head back onto his shoulder and closed her eyes. I have terrible luck with blondes anyway. Izuku chuckled, referring to Bakugo. Momo laughed. Yes. Yes, you do. Besides, I don't think I like blondes. Oh really? Then what do you like? Brunette. Oh. Momo said, deflated, immediately thinking of Uraraka. More specifically, black hair. Momo's heart skipped a beat. That was a really good sign. But not tonight. He was still emotionally vulnerable. And even with the now even slimmer chance that he did not feel the same, a confession could ruin this night if it went bad. She could wait a few more days. She'd wait forever if she had to. Hopefully not, but she still would. She would, however, compromise. Momo lifted her head slightly and pressed a soft kiss to Izuku's cheek for about 5 seconds. Which she expected to turn him into a blushing mess, but something far better happened. Izuku turned his head down and kissed her cheek as well. A far shorter one, but a kiss nonetheless. Momo broke out in a splitting smile and buried her face closer into him. Their dance and unchained melody played on a loop until morning. And if they looked on the balcony below them, they would see a punk rock girl and a gravity girl doing the same thing. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. And please comment down below what you guys want to see next. I'll see you in the next video.